Hey guys, it's Lizzie, and let's talk about my day 2 update to the Kinetic Fusillade Totem's Ascendant character. So on today, I've been pushing for a bit more voidstone. The characters is progressing really nicely. So today, I want to talk about how I kinda fix the defense enough for me to run T16 endgame strats, and also upgrade my damage, and we'll talk about how to fix a few problems. And the strats that I'm currently running and showcasing right now is destructive play with betrayals, like I usually do. I think destructive play this league is quite insane. I am running one of the new scarab, which is called Interference Scarab. And what it does is that when Maven witness and bring in the extra boss will also be accompanied by the guardians, which is also very nice. So we ended up fighting like a bunch of guardians, and it's just really profitable even if you run this white. So you run this map Scour because you want to run it faster. Yeah, the boss drop or like the loots that come from the boss, I don't think is affected by the map modifier. So we're not really farming the boss mechanics, we are farming that Maven witness, and we're just going to block all the other mechanics just so the Mirage area can spawn near the boss area. And I'll have to play it around with the strats a bit more, but I will make a separate video talk about the strats. But yeah, this is more or less want to show you how the build is performing in the end game. So the build itself, right, mapping is very comfy. We should have enough damage right now to just drop totems and shield charge. You can feel free to use frenzy to keep up the frenzy charge as well. And we also add onslaught into the build, so you can see that we are very, very fast. Now, here's the Mirage. I'll just quickly show you the Mirage in here as well. So yeah, Mirage, you have a few options, and once again, the strats is very bare bone. You can run this like I was running this on no investment, so now it's a bit lower investment. And then yeah, you see totem playstyle, very safe. I'll show you how we tackle the boss fight or like the boss arena. What you want to do is to kind of like always when you place down your totems, you want to skirt on the outside. The totem have like insane range because Kinetic Fusillade chain from boss to boss, and it chain 3 times. So if your totems can hit one boss, it can hit the other boss as well, and it do just as much damage. Then you can kind of see how we are able to play it safe, right? We just put down totems and skirt on the outside, and the builds at this point, for me, is tanky enough, right? I'll talk about a few breakpoints you want to push for if you want to kind of survive in the endgame. Because, yeah, it is really hard to build defensive on Scion. Now, on the other hand, if you want to build damage on this character, it is really simple and easy to do. And yeah, like I said, I'm still using a 1 Chaos 1, and we are able to push to 17-18 million DPS, which is quite ridiculous. I haven't really play a totem build like this before, you know, beside the Merc League where you have the Doyani shenanigans. But yeah, this is straight up just like raw damage if you are able to play this character. We have add like tons of damage into the build for very cheap. And so if you want to like progress through your characters, I highly recommend you to just build damage in the encounter like this, or like any strat that you farm. Totems is very safe, so you can just like put down your totems and just stay far away. Like I said, Kinetic Fusillade has great and very good, like, the range is really deceptive, right? Because if you can chain to something, it's gonna keep chaining. So overall, it's really good. And yeah, if you want to focus on something, build damage. I also heard people have trouble with like getting to the breakpoint or like failing the breakpoint and don't know how to fix the characters. I'll also talk about that. Either way, yep, let's talk about how the character is going so far. So I want to quickly show off the character here. Playtime is about 1 day 9 hours, but yeah, there's a lot of hours I spend AFK doing stuff. The character is about level 94 now, and I kind of generally have stopped dying once I start invest a bit more into defense, which is not a lot, but it is enough. So this is my current year. Like I said, we are still using a 1 Chaos 1, and it's still have no problem doing damage. Getting a one that is better than this is gonna cost you upward of 10 divine maybe, or you know, depending on the price changing. But yeah, getting a fracture modifiers on 1 right now is like 3 to 4 div to get a T1 suffix and stuff like that. So yeah, I really don't want to do 1 craft right now. So yeah, this is a very budget option to do so. And I have go for a 6-link on a replica Hyrule Eye. I think this is the best body armor you can get on this build, especially if you are going for damage, because we get added lightning damage, which scale really well with us because we are already doing lightning exposure and stuff. But yeah, all these gear and link will be in the PoE as well. I have a snapshot of this character, and I've also capped my chaos resistant with chaos on my glove, this ring, chaos resistant here, and I think I get a few here, but then I also get a small cluster in here, which have the anti-venom. So this is like tons of chaos resistance, just enough for me to be overcapped. And I have get enough resistance on my gear just so I can drop Purity of Element as well. So we are fully using Grace, Clarity, and Wrath. And overall the build feels really nice to play. This is the point where you really want to get to. And then with effectively, right, a life and shield pool of around 4k, which is good enough. You get a tons of ES from this added shield accessory right here, with 100% increased ES from your equipped helmet. So if you're using a Wilma Recta in your setup, yeah, you get tons and tons of ES from this. Like if I'm also not sure if I have a regret up. Okay, I have just enough, right? Let me just quickly show you. If I remove this, I lose like 200 ES. So yeah, that is huge, right? So for defense, this is the point where you're like, yeah, that's good enough, I think. I'm not gonna invest further into defense, especially if I have like this much evasion. Like you can see, if I pop my Jade Flask, I would have 25,000 evasion rating, and with Ghost Dance, our ES will recover up to almost 4 anytime that we got hit with something, which surely you should not get hit with a lot of things because we are playing Totem build, and yeah, getting a blast with like phasing evasion ratings and it's really important. I also automate the flask, so I'm using 2 life flasks because yeah, for like panic things I can kind of press it. But if you wanna like just use 1 life flask, I guess you can use an armor flask here just so you raise your max hit a little bit, but that is pretty much it. I also swapped the link on the seal skin to have moderation support over here. But yeah, that's on the defense side of thing. I don't think there's anything else. Well, I do also cap my suppression chance, so we are using a small tech here. You can see this is the green nightmare jewel, and it says granting cold resistant all elemental resistant, also give chance to give you suppressed spell damage, which means that the cold resistant here also give you 12% chance to increase suppression, and then we have a all elemental resistant here as well. Couple that with an unnatural instinct here, I can easily cap my suppressions. But like, this is expensive, right? But if like, for example, you don't have this, no worry, you just like put point into here and you easily gonna cap your suppression as well. So yeah, our defensive layer is basically with a pool of about 4k life and ES combined, evasion rating up to, you know, 70-80% chance to evade would be good. I think we get that number when we pop this in map, and then I'll probably get the evasion mastery for evasion rating from body armor as well. Luckily, the Hyrule Eyes actually have a lot of evasion rating, so that helps a little bit. And then suppression chance, like I said. And I guess Ghost Dance, I also clicked this note as well. So this one remove our evasion effectively from dexterity, but you get chance +1 chance to suppress spell damage per 15 dex, and that helps us reach the cap really efficiently. On the offensive side of thing, I add a few things. So Unnatural Instinct in this socket is really strong. You can see it give 50% chance to increase crit chance and attack speed, global accuracy rating, and a bunch of like really good stats. So yeah, if you're able to put them right here, that's great. Other than that, you know, I got a Watcher's Eye. This is really cheap, but obviously when you show Watcher's Eye, sometimes people look for that mod. But yeah, the reason why I go for these mod is because, first of all, so I figured out that I made a mistake in PoE by specting into the bleed, which means that like you have to actually bleed the monster, right? And in the PoE I checked bleed, but in the actual like mapping scenario, the problem is you don't actually bleed monster because this one do no physical damage. And if you don't do any physical damage, you won't be able to bleed the monster. But yeah, which is why I spec'd out of this, but I spec into the blind. So I think blind works at least when we are hitting stuff, which is why I have this mod on here, and I swap to Grace for that. And then this one give us like just enough crit chance for us to cap crit as well. There's obviously better mod on this if you want to get. There's like elemental penetration and increased lightning damage as well. If you are good with the crit chance, you can get that, but they are also more expensive. So yeah, we get Watcher's Eye, Piscator Virgil, like I said. Once you have a really nice one, you can do a Harvest Reforge or like Harvest Craft on this to give you either critical strike chance per 4% quality or attack speed, depending on what you need. And yeah, I think other than that, right, I also get a new medium cluster jewel. This is really nice for the build, I would say. Almost mandatory for me at this point that you get this. So Onslaught is like great damage. Once you are able to fit tons of reduced skill effect duration into the build, attack speed is a very good multiplier for your damage, and you can get as much as you can. I almost like min max this, but yeah, you get Onslaught on here, and then you can get Ancestral Reach as well for totem placement speed. Like so totem placement speed, they buff it this league, and just getting like enough totem placement speed feels really nice. So you can see our totem placement speed is really fast right now. It feels like you're playing on a Hierophant without much like difference, right? Obviously Hierophant with a buff is better than this, but yeah, we're getting Onslaught, and yeah, we're getting tons of totem placement speed, so it's a really nice cluster. I just bought this. I'm not sure how we're gonna like Harvest Craft this. I haven't checked the modifiers, but I would assume it would be pretty hard. So the note that you really want is Onslaught, and then you can go for either Ancestral Reach or like there's another notes that give attack speed, but yeah, I can't go with more attack speed on the build, otherwise it's gonna break the breakpoint of Kinetic Fusillade. Oh, another thing is if you're using Green Nightmare here, you should also tattoo this with cold resistant because it's also count as suppression as well. Yeah. And I think that's pretty much it. Just getting your rare gears good enough for the resistant, especially chaos resistant. And then, yeah, just upgrade your damage with skill effect duration, 6-link your body armor. The link that I chose is volatility support because the majority of our damage is lightning, which means this is the best link that we have, even better than increased critical damage. You can check in PoE itself, right? Whatever link that give you the most damage to use it, either increased critical damage or I mean, if you're playing on this build, it's really hard to beat this because we do a lot of lightning damage. I guess it's all lightning damage, yeah. Here's a clip of me 6-linking the body armor in case you guys are wondering. First of all, we're gonna corrupted it. Make sure you have a backup plan in case it go wrong, but yeah, make sure your body armor is corrupted. And then we'll be using Tainted Jeweler Orb to 6-socket it. Now, if it fails, you always go and craft 4 sockets and you use Jeweler Orb until you hit 6 sockets. And then hopefully at that point, you have enough currency to use Tainted Fusing. But yeah, we just hit, right? So if you're lucky, right, it is going to be very, very cheap. And if you're not, it's almost impossible to get a similar body armor like this because, yeah, it is 5 off-socket color that we want, right? So ideally, you buy it one by one, but yeah, we just hit, so yeah, we got really lucky here. The last step is to use Tainted Chromatic Orb to make sure this body armor have 5 off-socket color. Now, depending on the color that you get, you won't probably use volatility. You can just kind of it's gonna be either blue or red. So if it's blue, then you use increased critical damage. If it's red, you use volatility support. But yeah, do this until you hit like 1 green socket, which is something like this. Alright, so I really want to quickly touch on the Atlas strats that I'm running. This is the Structure Blade with Betrayal, and I quickly talk about it in the beginning, but yeah, it is very nice to play. I still don't have all the point yet. At this point, it's really efficient to do. You can run this like basically on Scour map, and you can run with the scrap setup that I was running. But yeah, it's probably I'm gonna talk about that video next, since if I'm not doing any major upgrade to the character, which I don't think I will, the last thing for me to do is probably get like a Light of Meanings over here and change the Unnatural Instinct spot. But that is going to be with a bit more level. I mean, I'm already level 94. So yeah, this character is almost done. I'm just gonna like do a few farm strats and look for my next build, which is on the Red Aquarian. But one final thing before I forget. So this is the stats from my character. So you can see here, some of you guys run into a problem, like for example, if you have too much attack speed and you don't know how to fix it, even with the gear that I'm showing. Well, for example, if my character has like 7 attack speed per second, it's like, I don't know, 250, which means I have too many attack speed and I lose projectiles. And if you really want to optimize this, my, like you can do a few things, right? For example, just by removing 1 projectiles, we are a little bit closer to the perfect setups. And by removing 2 projectiles, which bring us down to 6, when we are at the perfect setup and really optimize as well. This would save you guys a lot of passive point in there. So we have 2 passive point that give projectiles. The first one is multi-shot, which if you if you unspec multi-shot, you also unspec a little bit of attack speed on there, because yeah, you have some attack speed on the way there. And there's a 1 mastery that give another projectile. So whenever you run into the problem of having too much projectiles by falling the tree, you can unspec those, and that would put you back at perfect. And until you get more skill effect duration, like reduce skill effect duration on your gear, you are able to eventually fit in a bit more of these projectiles and perfect out your attack speed. But yeah, there are many ways to fix this. It all depending on your character and depending on what you have. So you just kind of have to understand the fundamental that the more reduced skill effect duration you have, the more you can fit in projectiles and attack speed. With that being said, it has been an extremely fun leg start for me so far, especially trying to make this work on the Scion, which is overlooked by pretty much everyone. But yeah, it is really nice. I'm looking forward to push a bit more into this character before moving on to the next character. Feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.